household. Dr. Bryant has been leading a national boycott effort of corporations that have been challenging diversity, equity, and inclusion, and has some successes, some extraordinary successes, on a scale that we've not seen since the Montgomery bus boycott. He's also been a prophetic leader on many, many issues. I'm particularly honored that Dr. Bryant is my special guest on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Bryant, welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
I'm honored to be with you, sir. Thank you for having me.
It is really my privilege. Dr. Bryant, before we get to some of the more contemporary issues and the challenges that confront African Americans at this hour, uh, share with us your thoughts on the African American prophetic tradition and why our ministers and our community must organize and must engage the prophetic tradition in a way that we have not in a generation.
First of all, let me say how painful it is that I have to answer it from a historical lens and not from a present reality.
Mm.
There is a grave, gaping disconnect from that prophetic tradition to where it is that we find ourselves today. The reality is the Black church has always been the harmonica to sound the alarm about what was taking place. Earlier today, our dear brother Al Green was censured, and 10 Democrats voted alongside the Republicans for that to happen.
Mm.
I'm still waiting for an outcry from clergy from his state to say something and to mobilize the troops. It was so important for the prophetic tradition to be aligned in this hour, big brother, because this is the largest amount of Black people in our history in America who don't go to church. We're at 26%. It is the largest demographic of people since we've been in America who self-identify as atheist,
Mm.
4 to 5%. And in large measure, it is attributable to the absence of the Black church. The Montgomery bus boycott was not pulled together by labor unions. It was pulled together by the Black church, who really set the bar and the stage, and every night will corral the people to come back to the church. I've been trumpeting this over the last 3 weeks. Black Lives Matter emergence showed the devaluation of the Black church because, Brother Jackson, it was the very first time in the history of America that we had a civil rights movement that wasn't led by a Black faith leader or that was birthed out of the womb of the Black church. So historically, we have done great. But in present times of the last 25 years, we somehow or another have had our head in the sand. But I think this administration is going to give a large opportunity for the Black church to have a reemergence.
Pastor Bryant, what do you think is responsible for the decline in the last 25 years of that engagement? We have about 2.5 minutes or so before we come forward, but I wanted to ask that question because there has been a splitting, as you well know, within the Black community over the liberation theological tradition and the prosperity gospel traditions.
Two things, in my humble opinion, are contributors, and scholars may push back. One will be the rise of the Black megachurch, and two would be Christian television. I say those two, and I say to preachers as I lecture at seminaries around the country, the reality is Dr. King never pastored more than 300 people. It was not the size of the church, but the size of the message that made the impact. And we've got a lot of preachers who are really sounding the alarm and feeding the community, but they don't get the media coverage or presence, so people don't know that they exist. Secondly, Christian television, Black pastors had to pay for airtime, and so they shifted from a community agenda to a personal one. And we can mark it back to where you come out of, Chicago, is the public assassination of Jeremiah Wright silenced in large measure the mainstream of liberation theology in the marketplace. And so we didn't hear it. And so even to this hour, there are a lot of those who will not come into public space or public policy or public argument as public intellectuals because they're afraid of losing their 501c3 or what comes along with it. And so I think those two are attributed in a large way.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Our very special guest is Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. When we come forward.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. Who cares about the Black community in Altadena? We do. On Saturday, March 8th at 10 a.m., it's the premiere of Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr. This new weekly show will explore the deep roots and resilience of Altadena's Black community as we track its recovery and reimagine its future. From relief efforts to rebuilding, we're raising up voices, stories, and solutions to build back Black Altadena better and stronger than ever. It's Conversation Live, Altadena Rising with James Farr, every Saturday at 10 a.m. beginning Saturday, March 8th, with an encore presentation, Sundays at noon.
James Farr, the man who is the voice for Black Los Angeles.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or apply. Stop, opt out. Individual results may vary. Consult a doctor prior to use.
If you've struggled to lose weight in the past, this important message is for you because you could lose as much as 50 pounds or more with Zelfie. Zelfie makes it easy and affordable to get weight loss treatment 100% online. Zelfie providers can prescribe FDA-approved GLP-1 weight loss medications clinically shown to help people lose weight like Wegovy, Zepbound, and others. Plus, help get the medication covered by insurance so it's as little as $0 a month.
The doctors are super helpful, and the meds have been a game changer. It's the first program I've had success with.
Before Zelfie, I was unable to lose weight, even though I was eating healthy and exercising 6 days a week. Zelfie helped me not only lose weight, but I feel so much better.
Text GOAL to 200-300 to get started today with Zelfie and see if weight loss medications like Wegovy or Zepbound are right for you. Don't wait. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text GOAL to 200-300. That's GOAL to 200-300. GOAL to 200-300.
Yeah, y'all, come on. Come to
At KBLA Talk 1580, we fight the power every day.
Yeah, gotta give us what we want. Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, you know, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it. Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power. Fight the power. Fight the power.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, where our very special guest is Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant, one of the most prophetic and prolific voices of this generation and, quite frankly, of any generation. Dr. Bryant, just before the, first of all, welcome back. Just before the break, Dr. Bryant, you pointed to two issues, both of which I find very compelling. The 501c3, and that's the threat to free speech within the Black church that our parishioners and the Black community cannot see. And then there was the silencing of Jeremiah Wright and that tradition. Can you expound on that for both of us? The 501c3 threat first.
I find it very interesting that through this last presidential campaign cycle, white evangelicals took great liberty endorsing President Donald John Trump to be God's chosen one, the one that will restore America and the values. But whenever a black pastor, preacher, prophet, activist speaks the same from their pulpit, then there's a rallying cry of a separation between church and state.
Mm.
I've never seen, Brother Jackson, such ire pointed towards my church than when Vice President Harris came to visit.
Mm.
It was all kind of flags on the field. That this was absolutely out of order. It was electioneering. It was illegal campaigning that I need to be investigated. And so it's very lopsided. And the same can be said. Again, we're talking about that prophetic mantle. Al Green has just been censured. But think about Marjorie Taylor Greene last year, heckling while Biden was up, and absolutely no penalty afforded to her. So I think that we've got a whole lot of work that we've got to do as we move forward.
And no one escorted Joe Wilson out of the House chamber when he sat there and called Barack Obama a liar at the State of the Union.
Never.
There was just no movement. I was sitting right there. There was just no movement by Nancy Pelosi or anyone. I want to deal with these 10 Democrats, and then I want to come back to this, the silencing of Jeremiah Wright, the public humiliating process that he went through when he unapologetically offered his critique of America, and how these two forces, both the forces they cannot see, that is, the threats from the IRS on the Black church, and then secondly, the public humiliation process, undermining, if you will, decades of theological work, critique, historical understanding, scholarship that Jeremiah Wright and many others who are part of our tradition, Howard Thurman, what that attack actually meant to changing the prophetic tradition. 10 Democrats today voted to censure Al Green. These are the same 10 Democrats who, along with the Democrats during the state of the, well, the message to Congress, whatever you want to call it, since it wasn't a State of the Union address, joint session of Congress, they sat on their hands on the young man who had brain cancer, right? I understand using a young man as a prop, but I see props at the State of the Union many, many times. That's part of the package. But, the boy's dying of cancer. You stand for him. I mean, all of the Black folks in Congress can't be the only people who didn't clap for the boy. And then the tradition, as you can see it, is now fraught with retaliation at every conceivable level. Your thoughts on those 10 Democrats who censured Al Green?
It's absolute betrayal. It also shows that the Democratic Party is not in lockstep. We can't get the Republicans to be bipartisan for a crossing guard bill. And we're just down by 2 votes, and they gave them 10. And so it is amazing what happens in groupthink, that people lose their individual right to be able to protest. So for those that say, oh, it's out of order to stand up against the president, I wish those 10 had used that same furor and energy when it is that Obama was disrespected and when Biden was disrespected. I would have loved to see it, but we haven't.
Or those same 10 to save USAID, to save the Department of Education,
Yes,
to save to save healthcare and Social Security for all. Those conservative Democrats tend to find more comfort in the Republican Party anyway, which is why, Hakeem Jeffries can't be quite as clear, I think, as he ought to be on the question of resistance. Let me ask you a question about Jamal Harrison Bryant. Where does your courage come from?
my courage comes from, studying the likes of Adam Clayton Powell, of Jesse Jackson Sr., Al Sharpton, who understood that this comes with the work. John Maxwell said, if you want to be liked, sell ice cream. But whenever, whenever you're going to do something that puts a ripple in the tide, then you've got to go against it. And there are a whole lot of people who, quite frankly, want to do it for the gram and want to be social media famous, but really are not about advancement. You probably, in your own unrecorded childhood trauma, would have to tell us the stories of what it felt like when the lights were off and the camera isn't on, and living in that kind of space. And so I think that this is really a call. Nobody volunteers to be vilified. Nobody says, pick me to ostracize. But when you know that this is really a calling, this is not a job you can get on LinkedIn. This has got to be something that you know that God has called you to do this.
We see Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. We see the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. We see the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass. We see Black mayors under attack. It seems that our Black clergymen, particularly the prophetic voices, and our Black elected officials in this particular moment are sharing the same fate.
Oh yeah, no, it's coming. I'm from Baltimore, as you very well know, and our present mayor, if you can imagine, is the very first mayor in 25 years to have a second term. Because our mayors are always indicted or ostracized or vilified and not able to finish the race. So that young man, I'm praying for with intentionality. I pastor New Birth Missionary Baptist Church in Stonecrest, Georgia. It is the only Black church in the history of the United States rated by the IRS. And so I put that as an asterisk to say that whenever you find yourself in this space, there's a lot that comes with it. 3 weeks ago, Brother Jackson, I had my picture propped up in the White House.
I saw that.
By Black Republicans. And here's what's strategic, Brother Jackson, that nobody's talking about. They didn't pull out those pictures of me until they announced the new FBI chief was confirmed. And so it is under the backdrop of all of that that we always have to stay on the ready.
Well, you're certainly in our prayers, and the
Thank
challenge is that that your prophetic ministry obviously needs to be supported by our community and by all democracy loving people. But the
Yes.
idea that New Birth was raided by the FBI is something that not many of our listeners have ever heard or known. Is that common practice that the FBI raids a church?
No, the IRS.
I'm sorry,
The
the IRS.
IRS.
I assume
No.
the FBI is part of that
Yeah,
process.
yeah. No, Jesse, we are 3.5 years apart, and you don't know the IRS of raiding the church just to do an audit and then coming back with no findings. And so my church lives with that level of PTSD. And so we are overly transparent and accountable because we still remember what that looks and feels like.
Now, I want to add that what it means to be prophetic is to experience that process, the IRS raid or invasion of one's house of worship,
Yeah.
and then to push forward, challenging the direction of this administration and the collapse, if you will, of the resistance of the party that we invest our votes, that we have counted on, at least since Brown versus the Board of Education. And yet everything we have ever fought for seems to be under unprecedented attack in the last 45 days. What does that mean for you? What does it mean for our church? What does it mean for our movement? And how do we push through? Because you're one of the few leaders that have actually had to do it. And I use Eric Adams as the
Yeah.
example because they got him kind of strung out here.
Yeah. I don't know if we have in the 21st century a precedent. This morning it was announced that Mayor Bowser from DC is going to paint over Black Lives Matter Boulevard in Washington because she's received threats that she'll lose federal funding if she leaves the street intact. I am leading a Target fast, not a boycott. You and I together in several instances have marched and protested and had to go through arrest. I am very reticent to lead people out to protest in this era because I don't think, number one, that the handcuffs will be rubber. And number two, I don't think I don't think we're going to be out for dinner because they're really trying you only laughing because you know it's true.
Having the battery of lawyers, having the battery of lawyers ready to bail you out. They just may not be there this time, huh?
Yeah, no. So I think we're in a whole different backdrop, a whole different setting. And we can't play checkers when they're playing chess. And so that's why I'm really urging people to protest with prayers and with their pocketbook and not with picket signs. Let's not forget that in Donald Trump's first term, he wanted to open fire on Black Lives Matter protesters outside of the White House, and the military had to stop him. Now, at that point, he wasn't in control of the military. Now he's got all of his people in place. I shudder to think what it's going to look like. Just 2 days ago, it was noised about on Associated Press that Elon Musk is whispering in the president's ear that Derek Chauvin, who was arrested for the murder and sentenced for the murder of George Floyd, should be exonerated and released. If that happens, I'm telling you, the people on the ground is not going to sit too well. And we're going to have emotional indigestion on how to stomach it and how to swallow it.
I really appreciate what you said, and I hope all of our leaders across the country heard the very, very thoughtful consideration that you've given to the idea that we do not have the military. The police don't appear to be particularly interested under Donald Trump in protecting the protesters, peaceful protesters' First Amendment rights. We've seen Nazi members of the Nazi Party stand on the middle of a bridge at the border of a Black community, and the police ended up protecting the free speech of Nazis. We've had a former president, now president, who has threatened, as you ably and accurately acknowledged, protesters, that he wanted to turn the military against those protesters, to fire into those protesters. And we've seen the military now under his complete control. And you say you are reticent to lead a nonviolent march because the response itself may not be the same, and therefore leaving us with the only possible means of expressing ourselves, and that is the consumer boycott. Can we be effective in this regard? We have about 2 minutes before we come forward.
We have to figure that out. You're a graduate of North Carolina A&T, which you very well know. They trained the students for weeks before they allowed them to protest.
That's right.
They did at North Carolina A&T, at Fisk, at TSU, is that they argued about philosophy and about principles and about practice. Before they unleashed you to the lunch counter, you had to go through mock humiliation and slander to see whether you were prepared for it. And the difference now, Brother Jackson, is they're going based off of the direction of TikTok, not the instruction of a mentor or the preparation at the church. And so because of that, we've got to recalibrate before we send our young people to put their heads in the mouth of the lion. Donald Trump put out an edict, an executive order, that you can't protest on a college campus. If you're a foreign student, you will be deported. But if you are a domestic student, you'll be expelled. So the stakes are a little bit different in a society that does not honor our constitutional right of freedom of speech. And so we're going to have to find different and effective ways, or we're going to have to go back to the old Alabama model, Mississippi model, and pack out every jail until there's no room.
You're listening to Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. I hope you're paying attention. He not only has one of the largest platforms in the United States, he also has one of the most prophetic voices. But I hope you're beginning to appreciate there is thoughtful consideration in his approach to civil rights in the 21st century and in the Donald Trump era that we cannot ignore. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. When we come forward, Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant.
It's afternoon drive time with Jesse Jackson Jr. Only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. DeSoto County, Mississippi leaders are planning to sue over new legislative maps creating a majority black district. The Board of Supervisors has hired legal counsel to challenge the plan ahead of the August 5th primaries. Elk Grove, California schools are investigating a teacher for sharing racist material during a Black History Month lesson. The Catherine Albiani Middle School teacher is on leave and the district has condemned the content. Black Maryland Attorney General Anthony Brown is joining 22 attorneys general opposing a lawsuit that could weaken the National Labor Relations Board power to protect workers' rights to unionize. They urge the court to deny YAP USA Automotive Systems' request to block NLRB proceedings. An African-American Rep. Kwesi Mpume and Rep. Gerald Connolly are pushing for an inquiry into Trump-era federal job cuts, accusing President Trump and Elon Musk of harming the country while Congress does nothing. Get BIN News on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Imagine a photograph of your favorite place in California. Then right in the middle of it, one piece of litter. Litter has no place in our lives, not one piece. Together, let's change that. Clean California. Zero litter is the goal. CleanCA.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
With President Obama in the house, Clippers guard James Harden delivered a spectacular performance Wednesday night at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. Harden dropped 50 points in the Clippers' 123-115 win over Detroit, helping the Clippers to snap a 3-game losing streak. The 35-year-old Harden is the first Clippers player to reach 50 since Lou Williams did it at Golden State on January 10, 2018. Obama, who sat next to Clippers owner Steve Ballmer on the baseline, saw Harden make 14 to 24 shots, including 6 3-pointers. He also made 16 of 20 free throws. Harden ranks 4th in the NBA in 50-point games. Wilt Chamberlain is the all-time leader with 118, followed by Michael Jordan with 31 and Kobe with 25. The Lakers are home tonight against the New York Knicks at Crypto.com. The Lakers, number 2 in the Western Conference, are going for their 8th straight win. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
A new day is on the horizon. Behind every great moment in history, there's a woman whose story went untold. This March, KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates the trailblazers who changed our world. From Rosa Parks to Constance Baker Motley, from Katherine Johnson to Kamala Harris, these are the voices that broke barriers, challenged limits, and reshaped America. Join us all month long as we honor the women who dared to dream, fight, and lead. KBLA Talk 1580, amplifying women's stories that inspire generations.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text ROCK to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text ROCK to 42424. That's ROCK to 42424.
KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to announce that, like George and Weezy,
We're moving on now.
earlier this year, we were named as semifinalists for the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025. Wait for it. You ready? KBLA Talk 1580 was recently selected as one of 10 finalists being considered for this prestigious award. Hundreds of organizations, institutions, and even cities were nominated in the selection process. But KBLA Talk 1580 has made it to the finals. You're invited to watch live on Wednesday, April 16th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central, as Eco America announces the winner and the runner-up, awarding over $200,000 in prize money. To watch live, just go to ecoamerica.org to register and attend the online ceremony. That's ecoamerica.org. Don't miss the presentation of the American Climate Leadership Awards 2025, Wednesday, April 16th, and wish us luck. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr., and welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My very special guest is none other than Reverend Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant, the pastor of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church out of Atlanta, Georgia. Dr. Bryant, welcome back to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Bryant?
Yes.
I just want to say welcome back to the show.
It's an honor. Thank you for having me.
Dr. Bryant, I want to tell you just how impressed I am with your analysis, your critique, and the thought that you have given to people who follow you, not only on social media, but people who follow you at New Birth. And I count myself amongst one of Dr. Bryant's followers. When I looked out on that Democratic audience, and I'm taking a quote from Dr. Bryant that I heard him use one time, and I almost fell out of my seat. I looked in that audience and saw some of the aged Democratic leaders still holding on to their seats. People who were back during the civil rights days, if you will, who quite frankly should have gotten out of the way a long time ago and made room for voices like yours. And once upon a time, you said some of these Negroes belong in a natural history museum next to dinosaur bones, because the reality is, and I'm so impressed with this, I want our listeners to understand this. When you see Jamal Harrison Bryant on a clip, you probably have not seen or heard or given any thought to how much consideration he has given and the careful way in which he leads our people at this hour. That's a lot of sense that you said a few minutes ago about not walking a crowd of people into this environment because of the vicious nature and the vitriolic anticipatory response in light of everything that you have said. And I was speaking not long ago, and I'm gonna turn this over to you now. Someone said, Congressman, what do you think about Black leaders passing the baton? Man, these Negroes don't pass no baton.
No.
Go ahead, Doc. I'm going to turn it over to you at this point.
Yeah, no. And Merle Evans Williams said something to me years ago when I was National Youth and College Director at NAACP that has haunted me to this day. Is Black leaders don't pass the baton, and it's not their fault, because Black leaders don't have models for succession, only models for death. And so we don't have too many models of how do you gracefully transition. Many of it is marred by tragedy and by violence, and that's how the next group comes up. And that's in every sector. You know, pastors who stay in the pulpit too long, they got to prop them up for their anniversary, put a corsage on them, and put them in a wicker chair. He don't even half know what's going on in the service, but Daddy did it today, you know. And so we've got to craft a new model of what it looks like to transition and to shift. There is no success without a successor. And so who are we training to take our place? To be ready in this next installment. And so something critical has got to happen for us because every revolution in the history of the world happens on the backs of young people by virtue of the fact that at 52, I'm considered a young leader. Yeah, I mean,
I'm 59, and today I was asked to host a program for the youth leadership.
Yeah, so we never graduate. We never graduate. Yeah, I mean, we on the youth choir forever. We never get to sing in the men's ensemble. So you got to figure out. Jesse, I didn't even preach my first men's day till about 4 years ago. You know what I mean? So no, I understand where it is, but
Listen, man, I have rarely been invited to be a Rainbow Push keynote speaker. So I can introduce, I can do benediction. I turn into sermons, but
yeah, no, it really speaks to where it is that we are and how it is that we moved. That this is the oldest leadership Black people have ever had. I'm gonna put a stake in the ground right there. Really, we never had in the history of our people that you've got to switch from being a player to being an advisor and a coach. And these people still putting on helmets and pads. Come on out of there. The field is too dangerous.
I look at the Josh Hollies. I look at the Jim Jordans. I look at this whole new group of young Republicans in Congress. And then I contrast that to, you know, God bless her, love her to death, Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn and all of these, you know, old fighters. Quite frankly, many of them want their bed of roses. They want to be in the Capitol Rotunda.
Yeah.
And they want everybody to come by and say they was a great congressman flying back across the country to their home. There is no sense that we have a farm team and we have to give serious consideration to that farm team. And we're going to get burnt in that process, Dr. Bryant.
Well, the farm team is really coming. They learned how to play basketball in the projects where there were no nets. The farm team is too organized for where it is that we are. But I think in a Trump, Elon Musk era, the rites of passage that you and I would have gone through to prove our mettle to the previous generation ahead of us no longer exists. So the no shade to anybody in leadership, but if you walk out of where you're recording and find a young person and ask them, who is the president of the Urban League? Who is the president of the NAACP? That they wouldn't know who it is that is. And so we are really in a John Wayne era where people are going to come through the ranks and didn't go through what I like to call the bro mitzvah to be able to, you know, you ain't, this new group, Jesse, they ain't never been to no Freedom Fund dinner. They're
not going the traditional route
in order to get it done. But I think that's what is needed and is necessary. It's going to be people outside of the proverbial beltway, belt line in order to get it done.
You're listening to Reverend Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant. Dr. Bryant, this is an amazing conversation. And I was just thinking how great it must have been to grow up in the Bryant household, to hear your father, to hear your mother, and to be able to develop the scholarship. This is one of the brightest families that exist in African-American history. But their dedication and commitment to African-Americans, to the nation, to our people, to humanity is just unmatched. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. And when we come forward, Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant is going to answer one or two more questions, but he's going to take us out with some hope.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like
inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month. If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Fabric Talk. Hello, my love. I am your living room carpet. I see everything. I feel everything. After a while, I smell like everything, including Sir Pickles, who you snuggle with while binging that dating show you can't stop watching. So, how about we freshen things up with Febreze Fabric Spray? Ooh, and a big spray for my pals, couch and ottoman. Ah, yes, refreshing. Breathe happy, Febreze. La 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 la.
At Lowe's, our members get more. With the MyLowe's Rewards programs, members earn points on eligible purchases. Plus, you can shop member-only deals for your home and business every week. So what are you waiting for? Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, Black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Small businesses are the heart of America. But you don't have to go it alone. As the nation's largest nonprofit resource of expert business mentoring, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses for free. Get the connections, education, and guidance you need with SCORE. We're ready to help. Find a mentor today at score.org.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. My very special guest is Reverend Jamal Harrison Bryant, one of the great prophetic voices of our day, of any day, of our generation. Dr. Bryant, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show once again.
It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you.
Dr. Bryant, this is more of our personal segment. I notice that your eyes are sparkling. I notice that you smile more. I notice that your jokes are funnier. When I asked Pastor Bryant to be our guest, I said, when I see you now on social media, in the pulpit, your clothes fit differently. You got some nice jackets with sparkle, you have the kind of celebrity that you can only wear the jacket one time. I know you got a closet full of clothes. You got to let me raid so you can at least see it twice.
Yes.
Something special has happened in your life. Share with us that special.
I have, it took 40 years, but Tina Turner asked, what's love got to do with it? Nobody ever answered the question for her. I have I've been able to marry the most brilliant, beautiful Black woman on the planet Earth that I've ever met, Dr. Cariana Turner Bryant. And I'm happier now, Jesse, than I have been ever in my life. To God be all the glory. So, no, it's been great. I've just been married for since November 14th. But every day with her is a regret for the days I wasn't with her. So I'm appreciative.
Well, on this Women's History Month, we certainly honor your new bride and the lady who stands not just behind her man, but alongside her man, sometimes in front of her man, defending her man, protecting her man. And all of that's necessary for our community to get the leadership out of Dr. Jamal Harrison Bryant that our people need at this hour. You got to have a soft pillow, my dad said.
Listen,
lay down.
Let me tell you, I'm gonna remix it. My grandfather said this years ago. He said, it's hard to preach people into heaven if you got hell at home.
You definitely, your grandfather had it right. You lose a lot of sleep, doctor.
A whole lot of sleep. So this has been great. And really God's hand, his timing is always unmatched and unparalleled. I lost my late mother in September. And I am so grateful. Before my mother transitioned, she was able to meet her and get her blessing. But all the more that I did not have to go through that season by myself. Nobody wants to ever walk right into that. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer in February of 2024 and was gone by September. And so it was a speedy downward spiral. But when you got the right person by your side, you're able to find your buoyancy, and I'm grateful.
Our condolences to you, Pastor.
Thank you.
How's the bishop doing?
My dad is 81 years old, and Jesse, he is as crazy as yours, and just bought. Listen, what's understood don't have to be explained, but he just sent me and my sister a group text on Saturday showing us, drum roll, the picture of his new 3-wheeler motorcycle that's candy apple red at 81 years of age. So all those who know the words of prayer, pray my strength in the Lord.
Dr. Bryant, Abraham Lincoln delivered the Gettysburg Address in 3.5 minutes. Dr. King delivered the I Have a Dream speech in 13.5 minutes. My producer is showing me that I have 4 minutes remaining in this program, and I'm going to turn them over to you for a word of hope for our community and what we should do next.
My daughter is going on a class trip on tomorrow to South Africa. I lived in South Africa my senior year at college, and so it's a full circle moment. They're going to go on a safari, and I said to her, when you're on the safari in South Africa, look for the long-tailed monkey. She said, Daddy, why? I said, they are the hardest creatures in the jungle to capture, but the Zulus figured out how to do it. She said, how do you do it? Say that the Zulus carve a small hole in a melon and put seeds in the melon. And the long-tailed monkeys love the seeds in the melon, so they reach inside of the melon to get the seeds. The problem is they can never pull their hand out. Because in order for them to pull their hand out, they have to release the seed. The message, Brother Jackson, is greed is so pervasive that they'll lead themselves to getting trapped. What we are seeing is greed unbridled in this nation, with their hands in Medicaid, their hands in Medicare, their hands in public schools, their hands in the Pell Grant, and they're not able to pull themselves out because of greed. But the good news is the monkey knows if I just release what I've been holding on to, I'll be able to be free. Black people, let's release our old way of thinking and our former mindsets of believing that we got to be in charge, we got to be up front, and our name has got to be printed. If we'll release who we used to be and open our hands to who we are becoming, we'll be free. I got to tell you that in the case of people like Tim Scott, in the case of Brother Byron in Florida, the old adage is, one monkey don't stop no show. Let them keep their hand in there. But for the rest of us, one day we'll all be free. I'm grateful, I'm excited, and I'm telling you by myself I can't, but together we can.
Pastor Bryant, share with us in the final 2 minutes how we can be supportive of your efforts, the organization that you founded, the online petitions that you've asked us to sign, how we can get you our communication information. Man, give it all to us.
Thank you so very much. 130,000 people in 3 weeks have signed on to be a part of our Target Fast. We are now moving towards 150,000. I need everybody to go straight to targetfast.org. Let me tell you what's going to happen. I'm going to send to you why we are walking away from Target. I'm going to send you a digital directory as curated by the U.S. Black Chamber of Commerce with 300,000 Black businesses across the country. And I'm going to send you a 40-day prayer devotional because prayer has got to be the epicenter of what it is that we're doing. The stock of a Target has gone down by $12 a share. They have lost up to this tick of the watch since January 26, over $3 billion of revenue. I'm telling you, we're getting ready to make an impact and difference. In case you don't know, The Montgomery bus boycott was successful, not because of King's speeches or Andy Young's strategy, but because they broke the economic center of the South. We're going to be able to turn back the hands of time and move forward, but we've got to do it through an economic agenda.
They can't target all of us with the IRS.
No, they cannot. And
they can't send the FBI to every one of our households.
Yeah, please do not. Please do not. All I got is $1.0250.
So if we join the boycott collectively and we follow the leadership collectively, if the community and the American people are moving under Dr. Bryant's leadership collectively, then the burden and the pain is shared amongst us collectively. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Dr. Bryant, thank you for being my guest.
Honored. Thank you for having me.
I really hope you'll come back.
I'll be here. I'm a repeat offender.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You've been listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.